But if we take a step back and we find that we're ready, patient's doing a frame selection, so this is even before we've ordered the glasses, and we see that when they came in, you can even look at them, and it's very easy to see ears that are unlevel. Let's say if this one's here and this one's here, okay, definitely unlevel. And this is the frame the patient wants to get. Impossible. We can never adjust this temple up or down. Do you see that hinge? Everybody sees that hinge? How are you going to bend this hinge? It's all plastic to start with. It's got a tiny little metal pin. Impossible. And what if this patient is getting this frame and they have a really fat head, really big round head, okay? Well, as soon as you put these on like that, they're going to hit right here, and they're going to continue to hit, and they're going to push the glasses down. Frames like this you can't adjust, okay? We can't adjust the plane. We can't adjust the wrap because it goes back to the same. We can't adjust this. Imagine trying to bend this down. It's way too broad, you can't. So you guys have to use some common sense in your frame selection. There's certain frames you should never choose for the patient. You're the expert. You've got to use your thinking and practicality. Is this going to work for the patient? What happens if their ears are right here? If their ears are, let's say, right here. Mm-hmm. Well, this temple, once it's adjusted, is going to look like this. Now, how's that going to go in a case? Mm-hmm. See? So you have to use some practicality about how to adjust what you're going to do about the glasses. There was a frame somebody, you gave me to fit. This was about a week ago. It's almost impossible to change. We needed to shorten the temple. You tried, you just couldn't, and you said I should do it. I tried. I had to really bend those frames hard. I have extremely strong hands. I can promise you none of you guys would have been able to do it. You know what? That's a problem with the purchasing department of our office. We should never, ever, ever, ever buy frames without having the rep demonstrate the adjustment. Let's see the temples bent more forward, more back, more wrap. Let's see if they can be adjusted through here. Now, if they can't be adjusted through here, as in this is a good example, then do we still want to carry the frame? Potentially, because in some of these frames, there's a high demand for a wrap frame like this. But we have to acknowledge when the patient picks this out and they have one ear higher than the other, these glasses will never be able to be adjusted on you to look level. Okay? You have to let the patient know that. What about nose pieces like this? Let's say a person has super, super, super straight bridge, just like this. You're not going to find a frame like this that has a curve to it. It's going to fit. It's going to hit that leading edge and nowhere else. That patient's going to walk around with a red streak, just like that. So you're always having to look to see if we call it the splay of the bridge. The splay of the bridge matches the splay, S-P-L-A-Y, of the bridge of the frame. Okay? In this case, you can change this, and you can only change it by heating this a great deal. I can heat this a great deal and really press this piece way over, or maybe press it way over here. But if the piece doesn't go way back, see, this is fairly wide. If it's real short, that we don't have this, you can't adjust it. There's nothing to adjust to. This one, if this frame were of a material that's adjustable, I could really adjust it. See how much this is? I could heat it and really bend it over one way or the other. But this frame, this kind of material cannot be adjusted. You have to recognize that. Same way with this. You can't adjust this nose piece. This is soft plastic. This is hard plastic. Okay? You can't adjust it. So you guys have to keep all that in mind. So what about adjustable pads? They can be adjusted. Just keep this in mind. For every single person that chooses a frame like this, you better look to see how bony their bridge is. If there's no fat in here, it's bony. Sometimes a little pad like this does not give nearly the support that this does, where it's supported, the weight is supported all the way around by this saddle. Here, the frame, and you got to take in consideration the patient's prescription. How thick is it? Thicker prescription, the heavier it is. So this only has a little bit of surface area to carry the weight, okay? But let's say it's okay. And let's say the person has a really, really fat bridge. Really, maybe it's even been broken, okay? So a frame where the nose pads are close together will sit up high, see? On their, and then their eyebrows are in here. Eyebrows in here where the frame sits up high is so ideal in a pool shooter or a skeet shooter or a cyclist. So pool shooters, they get like this and they're looking just right where their eyebrow is. Skeet shooters, if they're the skeet, they're up like this. Their eyes are way up at the top, okay? What about a bicyclist? They're like this. They're looking at the top. Here's what a lot of bicyclists are going to be really pissed about in their sunglasses. Sunglasses aren't working, okay? That's why we have to know their hobbies. We need to know their jobs. And you have to give consideration to all these things. When you guys are out on the floor, your mind's got to be in the game. You got to be talking to them and find out what's going on. Now let's go back to Mr. Fatbridge. What do you do with these? Well, let's just imagine what you might do. What if you spread these pads that wide? Well, what's going to happen? It's going to go all the way down then, isn't it? So that tells you right away, if you widen the bridge, you will drop the frame. If you narrow the bridge, let's put these two little pads that far apart. That thing's going to sit up here on me, see? So we have to take that in consideration on how it's going to look on the patient's face, depending on their anatomy. What happens to a patient who comes in and they go, these progressives, I see so well here, but when I look to drive and see the TV, I'm always having to go like that. That means we ordered the seg height too high, didn't we? So, do we order a remake? Or do we see, well, maybe we widen the bridge just a little bit, okay? Now we widen the bridge a little bit, the glasses sit lower. Oh, that's so much better. It's not in my way now. But you've got to make sure when you look at them straight on, that now that they don't sit right there, so that they're going to complain about them being too low. In that case, you'd have to have a redo. But so many times, if you adjust these nose pads just a little bit, it makes a very pronounced, significant change in how that frame sits on the face.